Okay, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine a vast, perfectly circular void. It's waiting in absolute, breathtaking silence right after a monumental, universe-altering event known as the initial restriction. This isn't just some empty, physical space in the sky. It's a cosmic canvas, perfectly prepped for the most complex operating system ever designed. Today, in this explainer, we are going deep. We are going to explore the absolute foundational mechanics of creation based entirely on the profound source text Talmud Eser Sefirot, Part 2. We're talking about the deep cosmic engineering protocol. So into this silent circular space, the halal panui, a single, highly focused thin line of light begins to descend. This is the Ohr Yashar, the direct light. It's attempting to re-enter its original, ultimate vessel known as Bechina Dalet. But the very moment it touches that threshold, boom, a profound, hidden resistance suddenly awakens. It's an epic clash of infinite forces, and honestly, it is the very foundation of how spiritual reality is engineered. Whether you're a serious student of these texts or just starting to decode them with us, this dynamic is absolutely essential to grasp. To really unpack this cosmic protocol step by step, we're going to follow a precise roadmap. First, we'll look at the choice of Tzimtzum, the original source code. Second, the Masach, which acts as our cosmic firewall. Third, the striking forces known as Zivug de Hakaa. Fourth, the creation of Ohr Hozer. And finally, number 5, the new corrected vessel. Let's dive right into phase 1, the choice of Tzimtzum, which is literally the universe's foundational source code. Okay, so the core concept here at the pshatz, or simple level, is Tzimtzum, which translates to restriction. The source text explains that the ultimate vessel, the Malchut of Ein Sof, specifically the 4th phase of desire called Bechina Dalet, made a profound voluntary choice. It minimized its immense desire to receive. Why? Simply to achieve equivalence of form with the Creator. It wanted to bestow, just like the light does, rather than just endlessly receiving. Listen, it's absolutely crucial to understand that Tzimtzum is not an active shield fighting something off in real time. It is a prior withholding. It's a foundational rule, a core decision not to receive, that gets embedded deep into the cosmic operating system from the very beginning. Because of this choice, something fascinating happens mechanically. In spiritual mechanics, there is absolutely no light without a corresponding vessel. It's a universal law. So because Malchut restricted its profound desire to receive, the upper light, the Or Elyon, automatically departed. It experienced his tilkut. The light wasn't forcefully pushed out. It simply had no active vessel, no desire to hold it anymore. This conscious removal of desire is exactly what created that vacant, empty space we call the halal panui. But here is where the plot thickens, and it brilliantly illustrates the whole dynamic. The source explicitly tells us that the Or Elyon, the upper light, is always in a state of absolute rest. It doesn't change its mind, it doesn't shift its nature, and it literally never ceases to shine upon the lower ones, not even for a split second. Because its nature is pure bestowal, it naturally and continuously attempts to flow right back into the vessel of Bechina Dalet. Think of it like a cosmic server that is just constantly infinitely broadcasting its data, regardless of what the receiver is doing. And that endless broadcasting brings us right into section 2, the Masach firewall. Enter the Masach. Translated directly as a screen, the Masach is the necessary, active mechanism to handle this overwhelming, continuous data flow of the upper light. If Tzimtzum is the underlying code, think of the Masach exactly like a modern server firewall. When the raw, incredibly powerful input of the Ohr Yashar attempts to re-enter Bechina Dalet, the Masach awakens. It acts as an active resistance layer. It intercepts the data. It is a forceful, highly active delaying power deployed entirely to protect the system's integrity and uphold that original rule of restriction. We have to definitively separate these two concepts right now because, honestly, students confuse them all the time. On the left, you have Tzimtzum. That was the initial internal choice of the vessel to withhold desire. It's the decision made before the returning light even tries to enter. It's the policy. On the right, you have the Masach. This is the active, forceful, real-time barrier deployed at the exact fraction of a moment the light tries to push its way back in. So again, Tzimtzum is the underlying policy. Masach is the active, real-time enforcement of that policy. Now that we have our policy and our firewall, let's look at what happens when the light actually hits it in section 3, striking forces or Zivug de Hakaa. Okay, pause. I need to issue a major warning right here. It is so tempting to visualize this physically, but please, Do not imagine physical objects crashing into each other in physical space. When the texts use terms like striking, descending, above, or below, they are absolutely not talking about physical geometry. Spiritual mechanics are entirely about cause and effect, about purity and coarseness. It is all about equivalence of form. This is a meeting of spiritual intentions and desires, not physical things smacking into one another. Keep that in the front of your mind. The Talmud Eser Sefirot describes this magnificent cosmic meeting as Zivug de Hakaa, which literally translates to the coupling of striking. Now you might be thinking, wait, coupling means coming together and striking means violently pushing apart. How does that work? It's a total paradox, right? But it's a brilliant mechanical dual force concept. On one side, you have the pulling force, the avut, which is the thickness or coarseness of the vessel's underlying immense desire to receive the light. It wants it deeply. On the exact same side, you have the pushing force, the kashut, the hardness of the screen's absolute, unyielding refusal to receive it directly. And the wild part? The secret of this mechanism is that both forces operate simultaneously. They act at the exact same spiritual time and place. To make this super concrete, think of it like a mechanic in a video game, where your hero has a highly specialized shield. The Zivug de Hakaa, this striking, isn't a destructive, chaotic crash that hurts the player. It's actually a highly cooperative meeting of forces. The hero's shield blocks the raw, overwhelming power of an incoming blast. It reflects that power back. And by doing so, it essentially absorbs that reflected energy to create a safe upgrade channel for the hero. The pulling desire and the pushing resistance are actually working together beautifully to prevent the vessel from being overwhelmed, while still allowing it to dynamically interact with the light. And that incredible reflection brings us to phase 4, the creation of Ohr Hozer. So the light that gets pushed back by the firewall is called Ohr Hozer, or returning light. The Masach intercepts and totally rejects the raw incoming data of the upper light, because receiving it directly would instantly violate the prime directive of the Tzimtzum. But here's the genius of the system. That rejected light doesn't just evaporate or disappear into the void. It is reflected back upward, towards its root. By actively rejecting the raw data, the firewall generates a massive, authorized return signal. And guys, here is the ultimate cosmic secret, the sod level of this whole process. This returning light, the Ohr Hozer, actually transforms. The source text reveals that this reflected light literally becomes the true, newly authorized Kli Kabbalah, the vessel of reception. Because this light is generated by the vessel's active, hard-fought refusal to receive for itself, this returning light achieves perfect equivalence of form with the Creator. It acts as the safe upgrade channel, allowing the upper light to engage in Hitlipshut, clothing itself within the vessel safely. By bouncing back, it creates the Gavul and Midah, the exact boundaries and measures needed to interact with the infinite without violating the restriction. Let's quickly summarize this exact order of operation so you can clearly visualize the entire mechanical sequence from start to finish. Step 1, the source code of Tzimtzum creates the void by choosing to restrict the desire. Step 2, the upper light, because it never stops giving, attempts to return. Step 3, the Masach firewall activates, intercepting and blocking the raw light. Step 4, the Zivug de Hakaa occurs, that paradox where the massive desire to receive and the absolute resistance to receive pull and push simultaneously. And Step 5, from this brilliant simultaneous collision, Ohr Hozer is born, acting as the brand new authorized vessel. Which leads us perfectly into our 5th and final phase, the new corrected vessel. The absolute elegance of this operating system is just breathtaking. It perfectly preserves the correction while successfully permitting the reception of light. Think about it. The original rule of Tzimtzum is never ever violated. Bechina Dalet, that core 4th phase of desire, remains totally restricted and never touches the raw light directly. Instead, the Ohr Hozer acts as this transformative garment. Because the vessel is only receiving light that is safely cloaked inside the Ohr Hozer, the very light it generated through its own resistance, the act of reception is fundamentally transformed. It achieves what Kabbalah calls Kabbalah al Menat Lehashpia, which means receiving strictly in order to bestow. The system brilliantly allows the ultimate goal, connecting with the Creator's light, while maintaining flawless spiritual equivalence of form. Now, this ancient protocol isn't just about abstract cosmic mechanics floating around in space. It is a profound, practical blueprint for our own existence. How can you apply the concept of delaying raw desire to create a safe channel for connection in your own life this week? Think about where you might need to consciously install your own internal firewall to transform a raw, overwhelming impulse into a meaningful, elevated interaction. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.